you
Yeah.
have to like maintain that. It's really hard for me.
So
I just want to give the world everything.
Yeah. So interesting, isn't it? Yeah, well, this is really cool. This is super delightful. Well, we have been I feel like I've been so funny because, I have a lot of guilt over like, we haven't done the podcast. We did. So we were doing the podcast, everything was fine. Then the mask stuff hit and we didn't know what we were doing. So we did 60 interviews in 3 weeks and then did the 10-hour summit on masks. And that was like,
I remember
like
that.
we had to know. So we knew what was going on a lot earlier than others because we had asked the scientists, we had asked all these people, we had like sort of gone. So we knew that like we knew a lot very quickly and that made me feel good. But then I was really burnt out. Then it was just like, I've been making all these masks and all these interviews. And then the school changed. So we all went online and online teaching is totally different, right?
Yes,
so suddenly we had to completely revamp and rethink and do all of that. And then I got really kind of very hermity, which is what I normally was before the quilt project. So before the quilt project, I spent 10 years like in my own little room coding copyright law, and I was completely happy with it. Like I would just be there for hours and hours and hours, and I was super happy with it. And Sid was always like, "Mom, stop! This is so boring. You're so boring." Then the quilting was like, "Oh, look, there's humans, and I interact with humans, and it's so much fun." Well, pandemic, I was like, "Well, I have to write this case book, and then I have to write this other thing, and then I have to write this thing." So I ended up writing, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 books over the pandemic because I was just writing instead of quilting. We had the copyright the copyright camp, and that kept going, and that was really great. And we did a whole bunch of stuff. But then I kind of woke up one morning and I'm like, well, we haven't done anything. I'm like, well, you've done a lot of writing, but it's time to get back to like being out in the world. And so it's nice to have this birthday and have you, because I know you've like just done so much stuff and it's so insanely great. So I feel like we all get a pass over the last 2 years of like, we all just like, well, now we're just coming back and that's fine. And we have to be forgiving of that because it was just weird,
Gotta be
so
patient.
that's my feeling is that we can all do whatever weirdness we did for 2 years. And then we're going to come back and just, be okay with that,
Yeah.
So it was pause. There was a pause in the world.
It was. And I do feel like we are kind of getting to that space where there is a normal, like we're feeling like everything's resuming. It just looks a little different sometimes. So I'm starting to feel
we just have to be kind to each other because we're all kind of, there's not enough therapists in the world to deal with all the problems that people have at this point,
There's not. No, that's my wish for the world is that we can rediscover kindness again. That's my.
Yeah, I agree. Kindness it's so funny. Kindness is the most important thing. And then if people are not kind, I don't know about you, but I am a very good dragon. I can protect and I can make my biggest specialty is making I always call them baseball cap boys, but boys like 20-year-old boys that always wear baseball caps I can make them cry in like 10 seconds or less.
I can't imagine you being like that at all.
I know, it's like my superpower. I don't use it very often.
So
I was a big professor, I kind of had to, so yeah, it's very funny. Yes, they would come in and be like, I don't know why you gave me this B-. And I would be like, because it's anonymous. I'm like, what happened? I thought you were an A student. Like you fooled me, like what's going on with you? Did you do okay in your other classes? Like, because
my people pleaser, I'm
shrinking of you, like very motherly.
Down.
What?
That's making the people pleaser in me makes me shrink down like that.
Exactly. Well, I mean, they came in to sort of brutalize, right? I mean, it was really out of self-defense because they saw me as this young professor. Now they see me as a mom and it's all fine. But when I was a baby professor, they were so cruel. So yeah, I would just turn it on them and then they would be crying. I would talk about their life choices.
I'd be the crier.
Yeah. So it was not good. Anyway. Okay. Well, I'm just so excited. Well, so we are working on a project. So we did the Just Want to Trademark book, a while back. So 2019, we were at market, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
2019 or 2018, sometime around there.
Across my feed, and I don't really remember. I think
it must have been 2000. We started in 2018, so maybe it's 2018. We went to market. We went to festival and market. Right. And market, we got a booth there, but it was like 3 weeks before market, and then we realized we might have to have something in the booth. So
that's me with QuiltCon right now.
Yeah, that's the way. Yeah, exactly. So we wrote this book. We wrote Just Want to Trademark and a few others, and so C&T Publishing has picked it up. And we are revamping it. So it's a much more robust book. Like the first one was fast and fine, but this one is really great. And you've been willing to be part of our adventure.
Yes, I am.
And so our vision is very much like you. And so I think why we feel like it's a DIY world and that you should be able to do some DIY legal work, and that we're trying to get to that space. And so this book, and then I'm writing with Sid because she's now a college student. She's a sophomore at art school. And so she's writing kind of the craft and art side of it. And I'm doing the law side of it so that it's more readable.
Right.
And she's really, really fun to do that with. So yeah, so that's where we're at. And so we're really trying to get the message out. And the book is crazy. As I said, pre-sale at Amazon, which is totally insane. And makes me like really panic every time I say it. But
you got this. You've hit those deadlines every time.
No, but the goal is really to help businesses like yours strategize on the legal stuff you need to do and not have it expensive. You don't have a huge margin to begin with. And you have to be able to compete and have all of the contracts and the trademark and all the stuff that you need to do, franchising. How do you do that without having huge legal bills? So that's really our goal I feel like our first 5 years was thinking about things, and this is our next 5 is action. And so the action really is to figure out a way to create a space for, well, we call you micro entrepreneurs because, others, it's, you're not making, if you're making like under $100,000 a year, like you don't have enough margin to like be hiring.
No, and I'm grateful that you're doing this because I see so many people, and partially because of my line of work. I mean, we've always catered to people, especially that have made their living from their sewing machine, because, during the pandemic, making masks for some people is the only way they had groceries on the table because they were laid off. So we've always tried to honor people who make their living with their sewing machine and make sure they're taken care of. But I see so many people that don't have any guidance. Like most of us don't come from an entrepreneurial background. All of us came from parents who worked normal 9-to-5 jobs, retired, had a pension. Right. So in this space, there isn't a budget. I can't even afford an accountant at the moment. So it's kind of like, I'm still like, just sort of hoping I'm doing okay on numbers. Trademark is, I looked at it before and I'm like, there's no way I can do this without hiring.
Well, and we're making it so that you can.
Right.
I mean, the real goal is, as what you said, we're with C&T Publishing. So we'll use Creative Spark to have a class there so that you can have an asynchronous class and then workshops. That whole hybrid thing. Again, we think people need people, and sometimes they need to do it on their own. So figuring all of that out, and that will happen in, I think July or August. They're saying that the classes will start to be available ahead of the book, because you can get the ebook faster than you can get the published book. But yeah, I mean, I think that it's very much the same. Like we've always sort of been just a bit behind you in terms of our development. But I think that's why I think we're so in sync in that. So I really do hope that. And so we had this study that came out. This is like really sort of a motivating factor for me right now. So there was a study that said like about 50% of pro se applicants to a trademark application, meaning you don't have an attorney, get through 50%. But if you are with which is, I think, actually pretty high, if you know nothing about trademark, that's pretty good actually. But if you're with a baby attorney that's like under 5 years, it's just a little bit more. Like the attorneys don't know either. So the goal with our book is let's try to get you to like 75% or 80%, right? Like if you have the knowledge of a experienced trademark attorney in this book, but the detail, like, oh, I'm using a name, so I need to do this. That like we give you those skills. We give you real skills the way you're doing with the sewing machines, right? You have to give them detailed skill to be able to fix the machine. You actually have to know stuff. Right. Then I would love to see if our numbers can get higher. I think that it's just that access to knowledge is not there. I don't think it's because, they're not attorneys or whatever. It's like, there's no easy way to know the knowledge. So with such a high, I guess, rejection rate, is that because there's details missing that they're expecting that weren't there because you don't know better? Yeah, like because you do. There's something going through that we keep using, and we feel bad because the person might be like, why do you keep using my thing? But somebody tried to register English paper piecing, the name English paper piecing for English paper piecing, and you can't do that.
Right. Because it's a technique.
Right? It's generic, right?
Right.
Like nobody can, like that's stupid.
Right.
And so I think there's a lot of stupid mistakes like that. I also think that there are times when you do need to go to an attorney because you do have something complicated. And in the book, we're like, did you hit, like, it's kind of like a, not choose your own adventure, but like
a troubleshooting,
if you don't need this, skip it,
yes,
right?
Yes,
if you don't need to skip it kind of thing. But we do have these things where it's like, yeah, if you're doing this, if you want to register a scent, which you can register a scent as long as it's not as a source identifier, as long as it's not functional. And there's only like, I don't know, 40 of them or something registered. So like, you don't want to just be on your own.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you also want to get to an attorney that has registered them before. You don't just want your cousin who does real estate to do it for you, because they're not going to know how to do it either. So that's my thought, is I really want those numbers to skew, because if you're with an attorney that does 100 or more applications a year, you have a much, much higher chance of getting in. And we want the book to serve as that, so that like you get the expertise of a lawyer that does over 100 of them in the book. So that's really the goal, is to give the DIY community a leg up, and to be like, why is all these DIY pro se getting, like, let's push those numbers so that they're like, 75% for pro se, 50 for baby attorney, right?
I love it though. I feel like that we've always had a parallel path, and I feel like being able to shift the paradigm a little bit has always been a mutual interest for us. Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, so that's what we're up to, both you and I. We have to keep chatting.
Yes.
And I'm just so excited. So if people are interested in your learning about all these things, they go to the Sewing Doc Academy. Is that right? SewingDocAcademy.com. And I'm so going to learn how to make it. I'm so going to do it. I'm going to read about the vintage stuff. I'm going to try to buy it. I have the class already. I've got the remove your covers class, and I do have a machine that is working that I haven't broken. So I'm going to try it on that one.
You're not going to break it.
Yeah, no.
I promise.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a whole thing.
Yeah.
I got thread stuck in the machine, and then I asked Ron to help me. And the way he did it, he pulled this thing, and when he did it, I thought, oh, that can't be good, right? Like, nobody, you were a little aggressive, is all I'm saying. like I could have done that.
Most husbands are.
I know. I was like, what? Anyway, it was only $17 to get.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yuki's do have a little extra in their thread cutter mechanisms there too. So
indeed.
Yeah.
So okay. So the sewingdocacademy.com is super fun. And Andi, I'm so excited for you. What a great adventure you're on.
And I'm so grateful we get to do this together. And I am, like I said, I'm very grateful you're doing this for the community, because this is such a game changer for someone like me. I mean, the timing is perfect. And I know we're venturing into a lot of big things that are on our radar. And I feel like that I'm always at fear of, somebody.
And we need places for you. Over. Yeah, it's not fair. And there's no, there's market failure. So if you're in certain, there's a market failure for the micro entrepreneurs. That's what's happening right now. There's attorneys don't really want your business. Pro bono places aren't good. You're not going to qualify for that either. So there's nobody out there for you. And so we're trying to really fill that gap. So
that you're advocating for us. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's fun, and again, it's sort of you said, out of, there's been a lot of things in my life that I was forced to do because you think, oh, you're supposed to. This is not that. This is out of the love of trying to make things accessible and available to you and others.
That's what makes it so special, because it feels like such a big thing, and for you, it's something that you love to do, but for me, it's an absolute life changer, because I wouldn't be able to afford this any other way. So
well, I mean, that's the goal. I mean, so what they're charging the book $40 for the book, right? And the beauty of a physical book is you do it, and then you can pass it on to somebody else. And the first sale doctrine allows you to do that, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I have a feeling that you'll
get passed on to people over and over again.
I think in the future you'll be seeing people from my program in your program, because we have so many business builders in our program.
Oh my gosh, we should have on thing of this book starts with this person. It gets passed along, and just have people write their names.
I would do that. I actually have my paper copy that I will be happy to circulate in my programs with people.
I love that. I love that idea of we want you to share this book. Don't copy it, because that's illegal.
No. We'll keep with the copyright.
Copyright hat back on. Don't do naughty things. All right, fabulous. So we're going to turn this off and talk a little bit about what you're doing with the trademark. And thank you again for being our first guest on our 6th season. I'm so excited.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. So that was Andi. We're working with her on a bunch of things that we'll share with you shortly. But we are also really excited about the trademark book. So if you're interested in the trademark book, it's available for pre-order at Amazon. It comes out in September. We also this